Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. During the month of July, we spent the entire month talking about how to build self-confidence. And I feel like the more I talked about the topic, there was more that I learned and I discovered in my own journey to build my own confidence. So today, I want to leave you with the last bonus episode related to this topic of building self-confidence. And this one today is for my introvert friends. And no one is excluded. So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, I think you're going to find this episode valuable. But especially if you, like me, are an introvert, here are 5 tips that as an introvert have helped me boost my confidence. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, health and fitness coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. Hello. Welcome to this bonus episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. This month, we've been talking all about self-confidence, and I have so much to cover, so much that I want to share with you that I thought I would do a couple of bonus episodes to give you that extra bonus content if you're looking to increase your self-confidence. See, I have shared with all of you that every month I pick a theme for the month. I see the year as a book with 12 chapters, and I pick a title for each of those chapters. And for July was self-confidence. And this is what happens when I pick a theme for the month. I really immerse myself in that topic, and I put in a lot of work in self-reflection, in reading and books and listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos and looking for resources so I can grow in that area, and I also can share with you. So this month, again, the topic is self-confidence, and we've covered a lot of territory around self-confidence. And today's bonus episode is specifically a gift for those that are introverts. I'm an introvert, and I feel like for those of us that are introverts, sometimes it can feel a little bit extra challenging to show our confidence, especially our confidence in social settings. If you're an introvert, I'm sure you can relate to some extent to what I'm about to share. But as an introvert, for me, to be confident in social settings is a challenge. I need to be very intentional about it, and I need to put myself outside of my comfort zone to do that. Now, if you are an extrovert, keep listening because I promise there's nuggets in this bonus episode that can also resonate with you. No one is excluded from any of our episodes here on the Leading Yourself podcast. So, as I said, an introvert, it's for me challenging to feel confident in social settings. When I go to events, and I talk about this in an episode I did about making networking less scary. I will put a link on the show notes of this podcast episode if you're interested in learning more about this topic. But I share that for me, when I go to a social event or a networking event at work, what is the first thing that I do? And if you smile as you listen to me, that means you can relate and I will not feel alone. What I do is I scan the room to find the one person that I know, and I put my fillers on and I go directly to that person. I am so scared to enter a room with a bunch of people that I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't feel confident at all in those settings. Now, as an introvert, there are many other settings where I feel that insecurity. And I want to speak to those that maybe, like me, feel insecure as an introvert. And you can think about any setting where in the past you have been uncomfortable, insecure, where you would have hoped to have more self confidence. But let me share with you just a handful of tips that can help you boost your confidence. The first one is smile more. I used to have a manager in the past who was my mentor for many years as well, who told me this, who gave me this piece of advice and piece of feedback that I needed to smile more. Um, I used to hate my smile. I thought it was, I don't know. I thought I looked weird when I smile. I thought that if I smile too much, like people will think that I was not taking things seriously. I don't know what was on my mind. It was definitely a limiting belief. But let me tell you that a simple smile is what helped me connect with people at work and outside of work in ways that I was not able to do before. It just gave me the confidence that I need to actually like start a conversation with someone or just start that relationship with that colleague at work. And it helped me to build rapport with other people. And once I broke the ice at the beginning of trying to build rapport with people, then it became easier for me. As an introvert, I struggled for to make that first contact, but once I start talking to people, I start to feel more comfortable and I start to gain more confidence. And then things are, I don't want to say easy, but easier and more comfortable. When you smile, that helps you look so much more friendly and approachable. And that can make a huge difference, right? If you are, I don't know, at a coffee shop or at the library or waiting in the line for a buffet or at a restaurant or at work, when you make eye contact with someone and you smile, you break that wall that is between you and the other person, and you're kind of opening the door for that person to take the first step that sometimes you're so scared to make because you're insecure, because you lack that confidence. So smile more, and smiling can really boost your confidence. Not only is going to open the door for someone to take that first step that you're scared to make, but there is some chemical reaction in your brain. And I swear this is true. I've read research around this that automatically boost your confidence. So show your white pearls more often. Smile, but do it generally and do it in a way that is natural. Don't overdo it, but don't overthink it. Okay. Let's move to number two. The other thing that can boost your confidence is to stop caring about what other people think and care about what you think. You know, we talked about in other podcast episodes on how detrimental comparisons are. And when you are an introvert and you start to compare yourselves with others, you're basically damaging your self confidence. You're basically taking a dent into your own self confidence. You probably have heard it many times that you should not compare yourself with others. But I want to reinforce that there is a direct correlation between that and your level of insecurity and your level of self confidence. If you want to be happy, if you want to be confident, stop caring about what others think and stop comparing with other people. Um, I think a lot of times as introverts, we tend to internalize a lot what we think other people think of us. That's a lot of things in one sentence. Let me repeat it one more time. We internalize what we think other people think of us. So, the thinking of the thinking means that the probabilities that what you're thinking other people are thinking of you, it's not true. There are a lot of probabilities that it's not true. It's just in your head. So, stop thinking about what other people think about you. Because most likely it's far away from what they actually thinking. They probably not even thinking about you at all. Another tip is to get out of your comfort zone and force yourself to talk to other people. Again, I know it's terrifying sometimes. I think that's the right word to reach out and establish a conversation with a complete stranger. But the more that you practice it, the more comfortable and the more confident that you're going to feel in doing that. And that can really make a difference in building your self confidence, boosting your self confidence, but also expanding your network and making those connections that can be so helpful, whether it's at work or outside of work. And even if that conversation that you start with someone don't go anywhere, at least you tried and you push yourself outside of your comfort zone. And that is going to exercise that muscle of building self confidence because this is one area, like in social interactions, where as an introvert, we tend to lack self confidence. And I'm generalizing here. You might be that one person that is an introvert and thrives in social interactions because I think a lot of times we generalize, what being an introvert means or how does it actually look like. And I think that when it comes to social interactions, you need to get to know yourself and where do you get energy and where you deplete your energy from those social interactions. As an introvert, for example, I am totally fine getting on a stage and talking to 100 people. Um, Probably more than 100 people. I don't know that I've had the chance to speak live in person to more than 100 people, but doing a presentation in front of a group of people is something that I don't struggle as much as those social one-on-one interactions. So you need to know yourself. I know there's people that it's completely the opposite. They have no problem interacting with people one on one, but don't ask them to speak in public because they are completely terrified and completely insecure. So it's important that you know yourself and that you push yourself outside of your comfort zone in those settings that are naturally uncomfortable to you. Because, like anything else, the more that you step outside of your comfort zone, the more that you will expand your comfort zone. So, what today is outside your comfort zone eventually will be inside your comfort zone. Another thing that you can do as an introvert to boost your confidence is to do more of what you're good at. Doing more and knowing that you're good at it can really lift your mood and help build your self confidence. So for me, doing more of the things that I believe I'm good at, it just fuels more my self confidence. And you will say it's fueling my self confidence on things that I'm already good at. But you probably have heard that Amplifying and building on your strengths a lot of times can be a smarter approach than trying to close the gaps around your weaknesses. So the same happens here. And the difference, though, is that when you build your confidence in doing things that you're already good at, first of all, it's going to be easier to build that confidence because you already know you're good at that. But that confidence that you're building around the things that you're already good at, it's going to have a ripple effect in your confidence overall. That means potentially impacting your confidence in other different things that maybe you're not good at. So, getting outside of your comfort zone on things that you are uncomfortable, but also pushing your limits and doing more of the things that you're already good at is also important. Another thing that you can do um as an introvert to boost your confidence is to look at yourself. Don't look at social media and start compare yourself with others and start telling yourself why I'm not like that person, why I'm not as smart as that person, why I'm not as lean or thin or good looking at that other person. But instead, look at yourself. Look at things in your life, moments in your life that you were in your A game, that you were. So to expand on this last one, the next thing that you can do is to continue to learn in those areas where you're already good at. To continue to push your limits in those areas that you're already good at. Um the other thing that you can do to build your confidence as an introvert is to reward yourself for the effort that you put on the process rather than just the outcome. So, going back to the example that we talked about on social settings, like for me, if I would go to an event, for example, and this is not limited only for events, but I'm going to use this as an example. And I connected with 3 people that I didn't knew before going to the event. I will reward myself for putting myself out there, for stretching myself beyond my comfort zone. And maybe those interactions were nothing fancy, they didn't lead to anything. Maybe even I felt a little bit awkward, probably, most likely I would, but I would still reward myself for the effort of stepping outside of my comfort zone and trying. So, those are 5 strategies that you can implement as an introvert to boost and continue to grow your self confidence. I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, do me a favor, share this podcast episode with your introvert friend. You know who I'm talking about. I know you know who is that person that just popped on your mind when I just said that. So send this podcast episode to them so they can benefit from today's content. And with that, I hope you have an amazing day. I will see you here again for another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast.